That's going to be what we'll use for a recall for her later on.
What's next?
All right, so how about we head over and we meet some of our donkeys?
Awesome, let's go do that. I'm sorry if I offended you. I'm sorry. So we're in with the lovable donkeys, looks like, and you are surrounded. You must be their best friend.
Yeah.
So
anyone with snacks is well loved
I guess,
by the donkeys.
Since I have no snacks, no one loves me. I'm just over,
we'll
I have
spread
snacks
the love,
now.
Of course.
I have snacks now. So, you know, this one here reminds me of the donkey from Shrek with the coloring.
Yes,
so
he gets that a lot.
do you have an Eddie Murphy voice?
He doesn't break it out for us ever, but I think at nighttime he talks about waffles a lot.
I was going to say, I'm thinking in the morning he's going to make some waffles, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So this guy here is Flash.
Flash.
This is Pat.
Pat.
Giuseppe. And George.
Awesome.
So these guys are all miniature Mediterranean donkeys.
Okay.
And they are all 20 years old. So they're kind of in that middle age range. And Pat here is actually our oldest farm animal. He's going to be 21 in September.
Wow. When I first got into the zoo world, I started as an 11-year-old volunteer in the family farm. And one of the first animals I got to work with and help out with was a donkey named Sam. And this is when I was, 11 years old, and he's still alive at that zoo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like 20-something years old, like 20, maybe 26, 28. I can't do math, so he's older. And so, what is the life expectancy of a goat? Or excuse me, these aren't goats. Of a donkey. We were talking about donkeys. Yes.
They live next door to the goats. They're the same, you know. So usually into their early to mid 30s potentially. So kind of very similar to horses. So one fun thing about these guys is they're often called horses by our guests or mini ponies. And you know, they're all equids. They're all related with in the same family. But these guys are naturally occurring. So they're not like a bred down version of like a horse or anything, or a large donkey, like a mammoth donkey. These guys are naturally occurring. And so they just stay this small. They don't get too much larger. They have great personalities. And they're kept a lot of times on farms just kind of as social pets. They can pull small carts and stuff. These particular donkeys, that's what our job is for, is pulling the small carts. Their job is just to look nice for the guests. But
right.
Typically,
but they are pretty strong.
Exactly.
Like they are basically not built for it, but like almost like they're just capable of hauling different loads, right? And people used to actually use donkeys for that purpose.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So a lot of times bigger donkeys, of course, people can actually ride, and they can use more for bigger transport and stuff. So these guys can pack a little bit of stuff on their backs, then they can pull small carts and stuff. They're not going to be able to pull the amount of weight that a larger donkey, of course, would, but they can help out around the farm. They have the reputation of being very stubborn. I like to think that they're more cautious than anything else.
Okay.
So with these guys, when I first started doing training with them, I had to walk around with the target pole and my belt loop on my pants for 2 weeks before we would come near it. So they're very cautious around new things. We always joke if there's a lot of water in the yard from a heavy rain that they're very cautious that there could be sharks in the puddles. So all 4 of them will leap over the puddles in the yard. They will not step in the puddles. But they are very intelligent. So when they do learn behaviors, they pick up on things very quickly, and they can remember a lot of different things. So these guys are actually trained to recognize their own shape markers. So we'll line them up on a fence and they'll pick out their marker. And then we do things like injection training. They also do open mouth behaviors, which of course with all of them around here like this, it's a little bit tough. But sometimes if we get, Giuseppe, can you smile? Show your teeth. Good job. So it's something that our vets also will use when we have vet exams to look at their teeth as well.
What is your favorite donkey fact?
One of my favorite facts is about, despite how large their eyes are, they still do have a blind spot directly behind them. So when we have them out on walks and stuff, one of our biggest facts that we give to people is don't stand directly behind them. And a lot of times people think it's just because they're nervous, but it's actually just because they can't see back there. So they have a blind spot directly behind them. So that's what makes them more prone to kicking. So it's always good to stay in the front side or the sides of the donkey.
So I'm safe.
You are safe there.
Awesome.
They always know where you are.
So I'm getting nervous now. Are we going to the next animal? I don't want to get kicked.
Yes, we are. We can head over to the goats.
Awesome. Let's go.
Okay. Okay.
Oh my goodness. What do we have here?
So this is Betty. She is one of our brand new goats, and she's actually brand new out on exhibit today. So you get to meet her the first day out.
What? Oh my goodness, such a cute little goat. Oh my gosh. Hearing their little voices is like the most sweet noise I've ever heard. So their little eyeballs, can you explain their eyes, like the slanted, slit of an eye?
Of course, yeah. It's actually my favorite goat fact about them. So as you can see, it's with Betty here, she's got a great viewpoint with those blue eyes. And so their pupils, unlike ours, are rectangular. And so it's one of my favorite goat facts because it's really an important adaptation for them. So with those rectangular pupils, they can be having their head lowered and be grazing on grass while still have enough vision to be able to look for predators.
Wow.
So it increases their depth of vision. They also have, their little hooves that help them be able to jump and climb, which Betty has been doing a lot of today so far. So she is a little over 4 months old now at this point, and we'll meet her sister Wilma in a second here. Okay. So they are brand new out on exhibit today, so they're having a fun day exploring, getting to know everybody. So we can set her down and see if our other goat friends would like to come over.
So I just want to point out that their names are Betty and Wilma. Yeah. If you are a person that is not a little person, you probably get that reference. The Flintstones, Betty Wilma. Wilma! All right, I'm done. That's it. Sorry.
That's going to be what we'll use for a recall for her later on.
Wilma!
So these two are sisters here. So this one here is Fiesta.
Fiesta.
Fedora.
Fedora. Hi, little one. How are you? What species of goat are they?
So they are all Nigerian dwarf goats.
Okay.
So Fiesta and Fedora came to us when they were also a little bit older than Betty and Wilma, but they came to us from the same farm. So they just turned 7 this year.
So they get the Nigerian dwarf goat because they're pretty stubby, right?
They are.
They're a little shorter.
They are. So this is the Fiesta and Fedora here are considered full grown. They're both about almost 70 pounds or so.
Wow.
But they stay pretty small.
That's a sturdy animal.
Yes. So they've got their nice thick legs. We have had other goat species in the past, but these guys the Nigerian dwarfs have been super friendly with guests. They have great personalities. They're very active. So you can see in their yard, they've got tons of stuff to play in. They have tons of bins to sleep in. They're very similar to cats and boxes. So if you have like a domestic house cat at home that loves to sleep in a box, you're all set to get a goat because that's what they love to do too, is sleep in tubs.
So what do these animals mean to you, Nikki? How important are they?
I think that they're so important. We work in a very unique unit. We work with the big cats, the Andean bears. We work all 3 areas. And I just think the farm has such a special message behind it. So not only for some of our younger audiences, but also because it helps with our adults too. There's so many people in this area that visit and they've never seen a real cow before or a real goat, especially being in such a big city. There's not a whole lot of farms that are close by to here. I really love working with them. They have so much personality and I love being able to train with them. That's probably my favorite part of my job. It helps us connect better with our guests. It helps show how intelligent these guys really are. Really being able to educate our guests and connect our younger audiences with animals so that they can have a passion for potentially being zookeepers later on in life. So really just having them realize how special these guys are is what keeps me coming back every day.
Awesome. Well, Nikki, thank you so much again for letting me see some awesome animals get slobbed on by a cow or steer or whatever. Not steer, because a steer would be a boy. Heifer. The wording confuses me. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go now.
Okay.
It was nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet
care.
you too. Bye.